No, it's very exciting. You know, this has been a 6-year journey between myself and David, and putting it together, and David writing it and creating these characters and filming and editing and whatnot. And actually, it's the first time I'm going to see it on a beautiful big screen like we have here, and great memories of being here as a kid, just walking around Leicester Square and whatnot. So very, very excited. He's a doctor. He's an experimental doctor who's experimented with medicine for war veterans who've returned from the Great War, thinking it was the last war that they would ever, their war to end all wars, with most horrendous injuries, physical, mental, etc. But he's someone who you think would be broken, but he's actually really been fixed. He's just a fantastic guy. I love him so much. He's full of optimism when you think he should be cynical. This wonderful little triangle of friendship that David and I really wanted to create between Margot's character Valerie and JD's character Harold, where they just say they will always be there for each other no matter what. A friendship that, you know, so many people, myself included, wish that they had. And then they suddenly find themselves dragged into this murder rap that then becomes this crazy global conspiracy that is actually the element of the film that is based on fact. This stunning event that happened in American history that neither David or myself nor most people knew anything about. Well, David and I, it's the third time that we've worked together. We enjoy it. Obviously, he's got kind of repeat offenders who like going and working with him. He's got a very unique way of working. And he just decided with this one to go even more with it, be even more bold, and he was generous enough to invite me along for the whole thing, right from when we would sit down in a diner and he was scribbling on napkins and we were just listening to music and looking at documentaries and reading books and looking at photos together, gradually coming up with tons and tons of scripts. And then generous enough to invite me into the edit room as well. So right from beginning to the end, I've never been that involved before. Well, first off, we got like the most incredible director of photography ever, Shibo, Emmanuel Lubezki, who's just absolutely stunning. I would hope that people, love the shared feeling of watching a film on a massive screen where you feel like you're inside of it. We may have incredible TVs at home now, but it doesn't compare to sitting with a crowd and feeling that a shared emotion between people, and just this is a film that is full of hope and comedy. It's a bit of a kind of a screwball comedy, a caper, but it's all about how the hell do you deal with life just falling apart and still remain positive and joyful and comedic, and David's so good at doing that, and he got such a bloody good cast on board.
I mean, it's extraordinary.
Yeah, look at us. We're in Leicester Square.
Yeah.
Everyone's shown up. It's amazing. I think people are going to love the movie.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of work has gone into this film, and it's a blessing to be able to share it, especially here in London.
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly us. I mean, yes, there's Bob De Niro and Christian Bale.
Yeah.
There's some people you may have heard of, but we're the reason you buy the movie ticket.
This is
like,
it.
what more do you need? We're just really gilding the lily after they cast the two of us. Yeah. Bit much.
I know.
Bit much. It's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. It is. Well, look, you have this comedic thriller element to it, right? There's a murder mystery, and you have this gorgeous friendship at the heart of it. And I think everybody's going to walk out saying, what's their Amsterdam? Because these three friends, they have a friendship that's forged in Amsterdam, and it flourishes throughout the film. And it's a very optimistic comedy. Our personal friendship.
Personal friendship. That was what I stole from the set. Everyone's asked me today, like, what'd you steal from the set? And then I just realized now I should have said my friendship with Rami. I was so stupid. I missed the opportunity.
But everyone thinks actors are kleptomaniacs.
It's a real phenomenon today, especially. I feel like we're getting asked that a lot.
What are the themes of the film?
With
Love, loyalty, friendship. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's also a lot of, unknown and untold history that David kind of weaves in this whodunit sort of plot, and it begins with a kind of a murder kind of conspiracy, and it leads to a bigger global conspiracy. It's got a bit of everything, this movie.
Just unbelievable. I mean, it was such a beautiful experience to make the film, because constantly you were surrounded by magic, and I spent a lot of time, obviously watching Rob De Niro both perform and just walk around, in awe. It was such a wonderful experience. And without ruining the film, we do come together. So we all sort of did come together at one point, most all of the characters, and that was incredibly special. I think the work with Christian, the relationship between Bert and Beatrice, is my favourite work to do, because it was so, working with Christian he has such a sense of ease, he's such a generous performer. It's so difficult to know what people will take from any piece of cinema because it's so subjective. But I think historically it's deeply interesting in many different ways. John David Washington's character represents somebody who's not only fighting for his life and his country, but fighting for a vote and for equality. So there are lots of pieces of history sprinkled in, some of them alarming. But mostly I think it's an awful lot of fun.
It's fun. It's exciting. It feels like Christian and I have been incubating this film for 6 or 7 years, and we're both tremendously excited for people to come and see it. It was fun to assemble the cast. Everyone wanted to come together like a band, wanting to play together in this story and create these characters over years. So Christian and I were talking for 6 years, Margot and I for 3, Robert De Niro for 3, John David Washington for almost 2, Chris Rock, Mike Myers, Zoe Saldana, Andrea Riseborough, Taylor Swift. We wanted to tell this epic story that's a comedic thriller about some deep history, and it's a big picture that's fun. Yeah! Well, Christian always gives everything, his heart and soul, to every character. He creates it from the inside, starting with his heart, his dialect. He had a back brace when he was older, because it's almost a 20-year epic. So during the first part, he was a young man who stood up taller. Older, he had a back brace. Changed his hair. We want to present someone you've never seen before. For each actor, to never see Margot Robbie like this, never see Christian Bale like this, never see J.D. Washington, Robert De Niro, Chris Rock, Mike Myers, everyone, Taylor Swift, to see them as you've never seen them before as characters. Christian put everything into that character, most of all, the humor that always comes out, whether it's The Fighter, American Hustle, or now Amsterdam. There's always humor and heart and optimism in his characters. Well, first, I also want to say Margot Robbie, she sings in French, as does Christian. They sing in English, they speak French, they dance, as well as play these characters. It's our first time with really dark-haired Margot, who made a lot of the art that's in the movie, and is a force of nature. The story really follows the layers of Margot's personal life that they don't understand as part of the mystery. We wanted to make a really thrilling mystery of friends, like Jules and Jim, 3 tight friends that you wished you had, that you want to hang out with. Characters, that's what I always took away from my favorite movies. Characters that I thought were cool and I wanted to hang out with, who were real and funny, emotional, and had love and loyalty. So the 3 of them go through an adventure of history that was unknown. And me and Christian were discovering it as we built the film, sitting in a diner each week for over 7 years. We thought, this is amazing. It's going to blow people's minds. But most of all, it's got to be an enchanting, amazing big story of cinema, which it is, that's fun and surprising. And then you get the shocking history on top of it. Well, it's a really immersive visual experience. It's epic, and it was shot as an epic by Chivo Emmanuel Lubezki, who shot The Revenant. He shot Birdman. He's an artist, and it's designed by Judy Becker and J.R. Hawbaker. Everything's extremely lush, and it just keeps coming at you with Daniel Pemberton's score, and a great song produced by Drake that he wrote, sung by Giveon. So you have this movie coming at you and immersing you in this incredible adventure that is propulsive and never stops. It has these great moments of love and great moments of surprise and mystery. Let the love, murder, and conspiracy begin. So it's a ride, like the old cinema that I used to love to go to.
Amsterdam has been such a crazy journey for everyone involved. It's really exciting to see it up finally in the cinema on the big screen. So with this, this score is heavily based on woodwinds, who I call the unsung heroes of the orchestra. Like in an orchestra, you have like the string players playing the violins, That's what everyone thinks of in an orchestra. But the woodwinds, in some ways, like the outsiders, which are a bit like the characters in this film, which sounds very conceptual, but it actually really worked for this score. I found they're like these really interesting, quirky characters, and I wanted the score to kind of have some of that energy. I think the music adds a lot of optimism and light to this film. I think there's something really beautiful about the core friendship between Margot Robbie's character, Christian Bale's, and John David Washington. And I really wanted to capture those moments in your life when you have these friendships and these sort of pacts between people you love, and how much that can mean to you through the rest of your life. And that's kind of what I wanted the score to really capture. Yeah, weirdly, I watched the film and I wrote loads of music pretty much a couple of hours after I watched the film, so I was really inspired. And the very first thing I wrote is the very first thing you hear in the film, and the very last thing you hear in the film. And that also got turned into a song with Drake and Giveon. So that was like pretty crazy, because it's like my gut response. And for it to become like my very first initial reaction to the film, to become what is the opening and ending theme, and has become this beautiful song as well. That's probably the most exciting thing in this. Yeah, I mean, Taylor sent me a really lovely email saying she liked my work. I was like, this is really cool. And then working with Drake and Giveon as well has been like, that's been a super thrill. And that all came together so fast. We had this idea for a song. I wanted the song, there's a line, Valerie, who's Margot Robbie's character in the film, and she says, I'm just grateful for the time we had, and looking back on her life, the time she had with her friends, and the song is about that ideal, this idea, the time you have with people you love, people who you care for, and how precious that is, and that's kind of what the song at the end of the film is about. I think Amsterdam is a really unique cinema film, and there are so many films we see these days which you just know what you're going to see before you see it. And even I can't explain Amsterdam to people very well because it is so magical. It's such a magical, unusual film. I think David's a really fascinating, intriguing director who makes these really amazing worlds of really unusual characters that are really heartfelt. There's real emotion in it. And it's a very special experience in cinema.